Howdy folks, today I will be tearing down my Xiaomi Mi 11 and replacing its motherboard with a new one. Please note that while I have experience in repairing phones, I am not at all a professional. I am doing this to repair my own Mi 11 and thought I'd videotape the process for you guys to see. So everything in this video is ad-libbed, including any mistakes that might happen. So I feel like if you are watching this video, chances are that your Mi 11 cannot turn on due to this issue known widely as deadboot, which in our case is basically the CPU's ball grid array melting into each other or something like that. I'm not too sure about the specifics. Unfortunately, this is what happened to my Mi 11. The good news is that the motherboard only costs around $50 to purchase on AliExpress at the time of making this video, so it will be an incredibly cheap repair to do. As usual with these type of repairs, you'll need a prying tool, a suction cup, a Phillips screwdriver, some tweezers, and a heat gun. Start off by heating the back of the device. Try to focus specifically at the bottom first, as that's where we will be prying it open. The heat will eventually soften the adhesive holding the back in place. After some heating, the phone will become incredibly hot to handle, so you might want to wear some gloves. You want to heat it, wait for it to cool a bit, then pull the cover up with the suction cup, and repeat several times until you finally have a narrow gap to start slicing the back open. Now truthfully, I am using this utility knife because I wanted to be a badass like Jerry Rig Everything, but in hindsight this probably wasn't the best idea, as you can risk damaging the cover like I did here. So just stick with the usual plastic triangle prying tool. And just a reminder to always take your time. Apply a fixed amount of force and let the force slowly slice through the adhesive. So now I have worked all my way around the back cover, and with a bit of prying and wiggling, the back will finally come off. I was honestly impressed by how clean its internals were. It would be pretty cool to have a transparent back cover to show off its internals. On brand, I am using my Xiaomi Precision electric screwdriver kit for this repair. Now, we're going to unscrew this bad boy. I'm using this magnet to keep all the screws in one place. Underneath the camera island, we can see the individual camera modules. You can treat the camera island, NFC and wireless charging as one single piece. Unscrewing one more screw underneath the camera island cover allows us to remove those components, as well as the plastic guard underneath. Now, you can unplug the 3 wires on the right, which should be for the Wi-Fi and modem. Not sure about the other one. Next, detach all the flex cables from the battery and the secondary board. Next, unscrew the center screw that holds the motherboard into place. And don't forget to remove the front-facing camera. Removing the motherboard requires a bit of wiggling, as there's a blue plastic peg that's still keeping it in place. Once you have removed the motherboard, you can see the rather frugal amount of thermal paste that was applied to it. Do yourself a favor and put some additional thermal paste in these areas, so that your Mi 11 has better thermal performance, and therefore more resistant to deadboot issues. But wait, don't be too eager to install the new motherboard like I was. We still need to remove the cameras from the old motherboard. Now here's the part where it gets a bit tricky and easy to mess up. To remove the main camera, you have to tear off the copper heatsink that's attached to it, but if you're going to cut it, make sure you aren't cutting the camera's flex cable. That's the mistake I did, and now I have to spend another $30 for a new main camera module. What you should do instead is gently pull on the main camera to disconnect the flex cable, and then tear off the copper heatsink afterwards. Trim off the excess copper using scissors, and again, be careful not to cut the ribbon. Now you can begin installing the camera modules on the new motherboard. Now fit the new motherboard onto the frame and we're ready to reassemble the phone. This should be fairly straightforward, so I'll stop narrating for now. Oh, and by the way, I would recommend blowing some air onto the cameras and blow off any dust that might have landed on the camera lenses. Now, I didn't use any adhesive when attaching the back, as I'll need to replace the main camera later on, but I would take a T8000 or similar adhesive and apply it along the interior edges of the frame. And voila, it turns on. There is actually one last step you will need to do, and that is calibrating the fingerprint scanner. Apparently, you need to do this for every motherboard replacement. To perform the calibration, you will need a fingerprint scanner calibration tool. Thankfully, mine's came with the motherboard that I purchased. Yours might be different, but generally this tutorial should still apply. To get started with the calibration, go ahead and launch the phone app and pull out the numpad. Firstly, dial this code. Next, go to Additional Tools and tap on the FOD Fingerprint Calibration option. You will now be presented with this screen. Place the peach-colored block with its concave side onto the scanner and start the test. Once it's complete, put the black block on the scanner and press start. Finally, put the thinner peach block on the scanner. I believe it's the corrugated side that touches the scanner, and press start. Note that if you have a screen protector on, you might get this error message during the last step. This is what happened to me when I did the test initially with a tempered glass screen protector. So be sure to take it off during calibration, especially if it's a glass one. And that is it for this tutorial on replacing the motherboard on your Mi 11, as well as recalibrating its fingerprint scanner. I hope this helped you in any way, and if it did, please give this video a like, and consider subscribing if you love gratifying tech videos.